Hey subscribers, welcome to a review of Season 5 Battle 7. We have the Mechanicus versus the Necrons. So let's have a look at the deployment, the setup. So you've seen this battle last week, but this is a review of each turn as I've been trialling over the last few battles. We'll see how that progresses. So on this side of the board we've got the Mechanicus and a few assorted gang trash, one there, one over here. We've included Mitch Devlin as part of the gang of trash, I suppose. I think I went over a few weeks ago, well, the history of how this battle is going to come about, and I suppose it's the Iron Hands rebuilding their chapter and trying to gain more Space Marines out of a local populace, and really these are just two respective gangs that they're looking to recruit from. And I suppose Mitch has found himself in that scenario, but whether or not he succeeds or not, we'll wait and see. So over this side of the board we've just got a normal Mechanicus force with the respective units. I'll touch on those later. Over this side we've got the Necrons, and we've got two Lords as such, one there and one there. This is how they're deployed. We do have a couple of deep strike units up here which are going to come onto the board later on, but that's what we're looking at as far as the deployment goes. So we'll see how the turns evolve. Let's wait and see. Here we are on the first half of turn 1, and it's been the Mechanicus who have set things off, and not much to speak of really here. We've moved just up the board basically. We've had one group of gangers leading the charge towards the Necrons out there, and also leading the way we have the Space Marines who are taking a strategic position behind this lip of the canyon here, which should be able to protect them from cover from incoming fire. We've had Mitch Devlin taking a strategic position at the back of the advancement, obviously not wanting to get his hands dirty, and letting everyone else lead the way. So nothing's actually fired in this turn. Everyone's just basically moved up the board, and I guess the Necrons might do the same next turn, but we'll see what happens there. Okay, here we are on the second half of turn 1, and we've got Necrons just basically advancing across the board. We've got really no shooting or anything at this stage, but everyone's moving into a position where they can. Everyone's really just moved across the board like that. The only thing I should note is that I did say that these infiltrators were deep striking before, but they obviously won't be deep striking. They will appear somewhere on this board in the coming turn, but we'll wait and see how that pans out. Okay. Hey subscribers, right, we're here at the first half of turn 2. Adeptus Mechanicus, their turn. Let's have a look and see what's happened. So we've had them move up the board as well, and we've really haven't seen a lot of casualties. This is the casualty list over here. We've got one Wraith, a bunch of warriors, and a handful of scarabs up the back there. So really what's happened is these guys I did think I made a mistake last time. I had them down as deep striking when really they were infiltrating behind this pillar here. So they snuck their head around the corner and probably had the decision to charge into those scarabs there or try and fire some of their weaponry in. I think I don't know if they've made the right decision. They're hiding behind that. No doubt if they were charged in there, they would probably get annihilated in the following turn with all this around them. So that's what they've done. They fired there and took out a bunch of Scarabs. Everyone else basically moved up. We've had our Escher gangers move up and try and fire and take out a Wraith, but didn't get taken out. Did get taken out. One did get taken out by that Dune crawler there, so that's probably most of the casualties there. We've got the Space Marines following up the armour there in cover, making their own cover. That tank there just shot and took out a few of the warriors in the front row there. Likewise, there was a few more warriors taken out by these guys here. I can't remember, they breaches or destroyers, just can't remember. It's late at night. Right, so these guys have just moved up as well into position. Mitch Devlin kind of got the inspiration a little bit from reading the Kane series. So I read the Kane series with my wife, and you know, he always likes sort of leading from behind, I suppose. So he's just surveying the battlefield there, seeing what's happening in front of him. So that's where we really sit at the end of the first half of turn 1, and we'll see what the Necrons can do in response. Here we are on the second half of turn 2, where we've got the Necrons advancing across the board. Let's have a quick look. We've seen the heavy destroyer there and the barge there have a shot at that Razorback, I should say, and not take it out. We've seen the Necron Lord and the Lich Guard move up around with the Scarabs leading the charge, trying to get close to those infiltrators around the corner there. We've seen the Shard get close as well, which can't quite get into combat at this stage. The Wraiths just outside of, oh no, they're probably inside of charging range there. So there's going to be some hand-to-hand combat coming up shortly. Necron Warriors, one unit just advanced across the board, while the other one took out a few of those infiltrators just around the corner there. Also this Spider took a shot at that Razorback, so it really took 3 shots from heavy ordnance there. Over this side we've just seen the Necron Destroyer just move up and take 1 casualty just out of that unit there. And this unit of Lich Guard with the Necron Lord have advanced, so really some heavy weapons fire and generally moving across the board. Oh, we also had death marks at the back here, deep strike, and take out some of the vanguard there. So we'll see what happens here next turn, but I reckon those guys are going to be a bit of strife. No doubt these guys will turn around, and we've got Mitch Devlin over the back here to save the day, so he might get involved as well. So there we have it. That's the end of turn 2. We'll see what happens next. Here we are on the first half of turn 3, the Adeptus Mechanicus. Let's have a look and see what's happening. So we've seen the forces at the back of the Adeptus Mechanicus army turn around and have a go at the death marks who deep striked before. We had the vanguards take out one of them. We had the Castellan robots take out another, and Mitch Devlin even got involved and took out another, but they're still sitting around. We had the combined fire of the Escher gangers there and some priests trying to take out the Wraiths there, and we also had the Dune crawler there take out one as well, and we also had the robots and the infiltrators charge in and engage the Wraiths, but they still survived. 2 of them left, so that's fairly evenly weighted. Up on this side, the Razorback moved forward and using that as some mobile cover, trying to take out some of those warriors which are being fairly resilient there. the Iron Hands took the opportunity to step back here and take out some of the, or one of the scarab bases there. Probably realised that the scarabs can next turn will no doubt run off the top of that cliff there and do some damage to that Razorback. It's probably not going to last too long anyway with all this heavy fire around the place. We had the other hive gangers who were hiding behind this pillar here just run up to try and act as a decoy, if you like, so the fire wouldn't go on those destroyers there. Otherwise they would have stayed back here and just fired that missile launcher, and not really much else would have fired from back there. So we thought they're better used up the board and taking a few casualties rather than have these guys take casualties anyway. And we had the lost the name now, Breaches I think they are, can't remember. Anyway, they turned around and took out one of the Lich Guard there. So I think that's everyone covered. That's where it sits at the first half of turn 3, and looks like the Adeptus Mechanicus has got the upper hand, but there's still a lot of firepower on the other side. We'll see what happens next turn. Okay, so we've had the Lich Guard and the Necron Lord chase down some breaches and take that unit out. Over here, the heavy destroyer and the barge there have taken out the priest there. Also, we had the scarabs jump off the side as they anticipated and take out the Razorback, which was sitting there. There's a fair bit of melee power on the Necron side, which is positioned up here. There was a Castellan robot and an infiltrator which was there, but the Wraith and the Shard won that combat. So that's how that's positioned. We've had the Necron warriors advance and take out much of those hivers there. There's only a few of those guys left. The Spider took out a breacher up here. So, and also we had the death marks at the back here take out a couple of vanguards. So that's really where it's positioned at the end of turn 3. Fairly evenly weighted. We'll see where it rolls from there. Cheers. Okay, here we are at the first half of turn 4, and we've just finished the Adeptus Mechanicus turn, and we can just have a look at see what's happening. Right, over this side we had the Dune Crawler there fire at the last remaining Wraith which was there. The combined fire of the Escher gang, the priests and the unit of Iron Hands fired at that shard there and didn't take it out. The destroyers here just couldn't help themselves. They had a huge group of scarabs in front of them and they're susceptible to blast markers, so that took care of them pretty well. We had the last remaining gangers turn around and fire into the Lich Guard which was sitting here, and there's a melter gun at the front there, so that took care of one of the Lich Guard. The other priests turned around and charged in to follow up the combat, and that's fairly evenly weighted at this stage. We'll see how that eventuates. Over this side there were 2 Deathmark which were sitting there, but we had Mitch Devlin and the robots and the Vanguard turned around and with the mass fire of those 3 units took care of those guys. And if we look around the board, I think that's about it. So there's a few less models on the board. There's a lot of warriors that are going to walk through here next turn, and these guys are looking in trouble in the middle, but we do have, you know, the June Crawler and the robots left, so this could go any way. Let's wait and see what happens. Here we are on the end of turn 4 for the Necrons, and let's have a look and see what's happened. We've seen the Spider move up and take out a destroyer just there. We've also had the combined mass of all those Necron warriors take out what was the last remains of the Hivers that are no longer there. This combat was resolved with the Necron Lord being victorious. Everyone else died. We've had the heavy ordnance with the heavy destroyer and the barge there. Took out one of those Necron, destroyers. I don't think that Spider actually took anyone out. It tried to fire, but it actually missed. So that's what we had there. Those Necron destroyer, heavy destroyer, took out one of those destroyers. One of those destroyers there. Too many destroyers. There you go. So over this side we've had no movement at the back here because it's all held by the Adeptus Mechanicus. Over this way we had the Shard and the other group of Lich Guard and the Necron Lord charge in and take out that group of priests, so they didn't last long at all. So that's what we have at the end of turn 4. Fairly evenly weighted, I would say. Still a couple of turns to go. We'll wait and see what happens. First half of turn 5. We've got the Adeptus Mechanicus who have had their turn, and we've seen quite a bit happen. We had the June Crawler here fire and take out the Shard that was leading the charge over there. We had the combined Iron Hands and the Escher Gangers fire into the Lich Guard there, but take out only one of them. Mitch Devlin came running up behind the June Crawler, couldn't really get engaged in the combat at this stage. Same goes for the robots and the remaining Vanguard there. The destroyers here came back into that, behind that crystal shard there, and took out a bunch of Necrons at the front there. There's still an awful lot of Necrons remaining. But that's really all that happened for the Adeptus Mechanicus this turn. So next turn, no doubt the Necron Lord's fairly exposed there, and I really don't know what these guys are going to do at this stage. We'll wait and see what the battle results in. Let's see what happens next turn. Okay, we're getting close to the end of the battle now. We've just had the second half of turn 5 for the Necrons. So let's have a look and see what's happened. We've had the Necron Lord decide not to try and get close to the Castellan robots there. I think it worked out that he wouldn't make the distance to get into hand-to-hand combat, so he would actually be a little bit short. So instead, thought he'd hide behind this and wait for some reinforcements to come shortly. So that's what he did. Over here we had the Spider fire across and try and take out the June Crawler, but that didn't happen. We had the heavy destroyer at the back there fire into what was the Iron Hands, and we also had all that Necron spam over there fire into those Iron Hands, and also this Necron Lord and the Lich Guard charged, same group, so they're gone now, so they couldn't hold up to that combined firepower. So that's really what happened in that turn. So this combined fire over here from the Necrons taking out the Iron Hands We also had the barge here try and take out a destroyer on the other side. I really get mixed up having destroyers on both sides. It's not easy, but anyway. So there was no casualties there, and that's basically it for the end of turn 5. So one more turn to go, and looks like it's going to be a duke out. Alright, let's see what happens. Hey everyone, here we are. We have the first half of turn 6, and before I get started, I'm pretty excited because I have worked out what the orcs are going to do this season. So there's going to be a few carryings on with the orcs. There's going to be a few new characters and a few old characters. I'm not giving any more hints away there, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. It's probably going to be, I'd say, battle 10, battle 11 or something like that until we really find out what's going on there. But you know, still a bit of time before they come out. So when I'm actually making the battles, I really don't have the storyline fleshed out. That's really sort of like an afterthought while I'm editing. So I do the battle, and then after I construct the battle, put it all together, that's where I sort of work out exactly what's going on with the storylines and what people say. So it's pretty exciting. I've got the orcs under control for this season, so looking forward to that. Anyway, back onto the battle. First half of turn 6, let's see what's happening. We've got the Castellan robots over here, which turned and tried to shoot at that chicken Necron Lord who's hiding behind this crystal there, and didn't hurt him. Over here we had the destroyers take out what was a spider sitting there. Over this side, the Vanguard turned and took out a Lich Guard. Likewise, we had the Escher Gangers turn and take out, there was a Lich Guard there as well, and Mitch Devlin tried to take out the Necron Lord but couldn't quite make it. So that's why the Necron Lord's standing there by himself. The Dune Crawler turned around and took out the Heavy Destroyer, which was sitting right there. So here's the casualties that were taken out that turn. We've got the Heavy Destroyer, Necron's Spider, and 2 Lich Guard. And that's really it for the Adeptus Mechanicus for battles for turn 6, and probably the rest of the battle. We'll see what the Necrons can do in their last turn. Let's see what happens. Right, there we have it. That's the end of battle 7. This is the end of turn 6, part 2. So let's see what happened. We had the Necron Lord turn here out and come out of cover and try and just take a token shot at one of those robots, but nothing really happened there. The massed Necron warriors took out the remaining destroyers there. We had the barge take out the Dune Crawler over there, and also the Necron Lord turn and assault the Vanguard and took out 2 on the way in there. So overall, we've got a Necron victory. We've only got the robots remaining, some Vanguard and the Escher Gangers over the back there, compared to all that Necron force. There was Mitch Devlin, who was surprisingly unharmed in the battle, who turned tail and run as part of the storyline for the season. So there we have it, Necron victory. Stay tuned next week and we'll get back into another battle. Cheers. Bye.